The Gory Games.
Welcome back to The Gory Gaze, a horror podcast where two horror fans slash up and bleed out your favorite
and not so favorite
horror movies. I'm Alex.
And I'm Stanley.
I'm Alex.
I'm still Stanley.
Okay, let's go.
Here we are, guys. Welcome back to our cute little fun podcast.
Yeah, we're back.
We don't really have a lot to talk about, I discovered. It's just been kind of a nothingness week. I mean, not a nothingness week, but we just didn't do much. And
just a whole lot of hi, happy 2024, happy new year, just transition with the neighbors and the coworkers and all that stuff. Nothing really going on, but recovering from Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. And we have just been working a lot, and we took down Christmas finally. Like, we got our view back.
Yeah, it was really good. You didn't realize how big the tree was until you get your space back and you're like, God damn, that bitch was big.
Exactly. God, the tree was like 7 feet tall, dude.
It used to freak me out at night, just the big old shadow of a tree just overlooking me.
Since Christmas, we've been sleeping with the Christmas lights on for the most part. So, or we'll just fall asleep with the Christmas lights on.
Yeah.
So that kind of adds this really eerie aura.
It used to just creep me out. I go to the restroom and I'm walking by it. I'm like, hey, hi, nice Christmas tree.
No, I do not disagree with you on that. Yeah, guys, it's been a quiet week for the most part. It's been cold. We've had a lot of wind. There was some rain here in I think. Was there rain?
Yeah, there was.
Okay. I was like, am I making that up? I don't know.
Because I think the last podcast, we were talking about how we had a leak in the ceiling again.
Oh, God.
They fixed it, and then it rained again, and we tested because the guy called you to check if it actually leaked or not.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we didn't even review a movie last week. I feel like we just complained about the condition of this building.
Of course. And here we are again.
You know, I do want to talk about that first Omen trailer that dropped, because I do like a couple of the movies in that series. I really like the first one, obviously, because it's a classic. And I really like The Omen 4, The Awakening, which was the first VHS movie that I watched once the VCR started working again. But what did you think of the first Omen trailer that we just watched?
I'm kind of excited for it. Like, I'm not sure if it showed too much even. Yeah, it was very light, and I'm kind of okay with that, but it's also kind of risky because it's going to be one of those slow movies, or are they just saving the good stuff for a better trailer, closer to the release?
And it's funny because it just came out of nowhere. Like, it's coming out in April. So I had no idea this was something that was even in the works. So
it seems like a lot of films just went on pause ever since 2021, and now they're just coming back.
Yeah, we had the pandemic, and then we had the strike and all that stuff. So we're going to get a good onslaught of all these things that have just been kind of hiding underneath a rock. So
seriously, we're like, left, right, up, down, center, like shit.
Exactly. And then you had told me about that Mickey's Mouse Trap that was coming out, and oh God, I couldn't even bring myself to watch that until today. And then we watched it together, and I know you had already seen it, but I did not think that they were actually going to be using images of Mickey Mouse in the Steamboat Willie stuff. But then lo and behold, it's public domain now because it's been over 100 years, and I'm literally blown away and slightly offended, and also partly disgusted that people are perverting that in the way that they're going to. I mean, I know they've done it with Winnie the Pooh, and that they do it with like fairy tales and stuff like that, but I just feel like this is not okay.
Yeah, it's not. And it's not the first time that we've seen something done like that to a Disney character. Like you see that on t-shirts or posters or just some type of gruesome portrayal of a Disney character. But this time it's like we're going to watch an entire movie of Mickey slashing.
Oh, no, not we. I'm not going to watch it.
You're going to watch it.
I don't know. I still haven't seen that Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie. I just feel like that it's not something I could actually sit through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I love movies like Snow White, A Tale of Terror. I really like the movies that are done like very
empowering shit like that.
Yes. Yeah, like I think that they're like the classic fairy tales that still take place in like the old day, and like Sigourney Weaver is a class act. So that's like something entirely different.
It'll still tell a tale.
For 100%. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna have a hard time getting on board with something like that. Like I just think that it's not done with the right purpose. if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
I don't like it, but I don't know, guys. What do you think? What do you think of the Mickey's Mouse Trap movie that's going to be coming out? I know it has an audience. I'm not that audience.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward to The First Omen. Like I said, I think that movie deserves a prequel. I know that it had a television series. I think there was a Damien television series, if I remember correctly. And I know you like movies about the devil.
Oh, yeah.
That's just something I wanted to touch base on real quick, because I think that that's like a little bit of a stir. We didn't mention this over the last, I mean, we should. Christopher Landon, the director of Scream 7, has since dropped out from being the director of Scream 7.
Totally okay, though, because Corey Gay stepped in.
You heard it here first.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, gosh, no. If I had any control over the Scream series, so many things would have changed many movies ago. I think that this is a safe spot to stop the film series. I think that Scream 6 was a perfect concluding end to the film.
Well, I told you, if they did something to us, I would just start with a prequel and tell Sydney's mom's story.
Yeah, they need to do something else.
And that's it. And then chop it.
You know what? I don't think that's a terrible idea. I just think that they need to do something fresh. They need to do something different. And I was really looking forward to seeing what happened with the characters that they had just spent 2 fucking full movies on. And I know that it's a lot of things that are out of their control at this point. But it's really unfortunate the way that this has all come to an end. This is what happened when they decided not to pay Neve Campbell.
Unfortunately, we're not going to see him in space.
Oh, God, can you imagine? Y'all can go see Pinhead in space, though. Go watch Hellraiser 4, Bloodlines. Or go watch Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space. Or go watch Jason X. You know, they send all your favorite horror villains to space at one point. I think in the Stab franchise, he ends up in space. Oh, my God. You know, they never send the Children of the Corn to space, though.
You know why?
Why not?
Because it's corn.
But I'm sure they can grow some corn on a spaceship, like craft somewhere.
Absolutely. They'll live forever up there. Spaceships filled with corn.
Exactly. They have to have their agriculture.
Yeah,
and
really.
Stuff, right?
Yeah. Will there be like children up there in this spaceship of corn?
No, I don't like kids.
Well, how are you going to have children of the corn?
You have a very good point. Speaking of Children of the Corn, guys, we just watched Children of the Corn 4, and that was the first time that Alex had ever seen it. And I get on this Children of the Corn kick every now and then, and we just watched Children of the Corn 2, which we had mentioned last episode. I think it was last episode. I have solely decided that, of course, I mean, well, I guess this was already decided long ago that this is my favorite entry in the franchise.
Let me stop you with because I really have this good question, and I just want to know, like, what goes through your mind exactly when you place yourself in a spot where I need to watch Children of the Corn? Because you do that often. Like, maybe like I would say once every 6 weeks that I've been like, I walk in and like 6 weeks periodically. I think you get this thing of like, I need to watch Children of the Corn. Like, you really like those films.
I think it's a nostalgia factor, and I think it's because they're up to a certain point, they're actually a lot of fun.
Because sorry, when I get in the mindset of I need to watch this movie, like I know like something happens to me where I'm like, I need to watch it until I watch it.
Yeah, well, Children of the Corn 4 is probably in my top 50, favorite horror movies. Mm-hmm. And after last night, I think you can agree that it's not a terrible movie.
No, not at all.
Like, it's actually a pretty good movie.
It really is.
It's one of those movies that if you removed the title and just gave it like the subtitle, which it's called The Gathering, it could be its own little creepy ass little killer kid movie, and it
Honestly,
would be,
yes.
and it's a lot of fun. But to answer your question, I just think everybody needs to watch a few entries in that movie saga.
Yeah,
if they are horror fans. But there's a little bit of fun in all those movies. But 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all like they're all like a package deal. But part 4 is its own film. And where I'm going with this is we had already kind of decided at one point, well, I kind of decided that we're going to review this movie. And I'm really looking forward to it because I've always wanted to talk to someone about it. And there's something that goes along with this that I'm not going to talk about just yet. And we know about it. There's some fun things that kind of coincide with this movie.
Super exciting news. Just stay tuned.
When more of that comes to light, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Something in the works.
Something in the works for Children of the Corn 4. So what else have we watched? Alex?
We've been clipped on that Natalia Grace, or what is it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Natalia Grace case.
Have we ever? Oh God, you guys, what have, I mean, we are not the only ones. We cannot be the only ones who have been watching The Curious Case. But that has led us into the Orphan series because, of course, so we watched Orphan and Orphan First Kill. I mean, duh.
We're just waiting for the Natalia stepmother's movie to come out.
Which is a horror movie in itself. I mean, this poor girl. And I don't know what kind of world these people live in to where this kind of stuff actually takes place. Like, this was really baffling, knowing that these people got away with this shit.
Sick people accusing sick people. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that everybody involved is innocent or guilty or whatever. Like, I didn't live any of this story, but just listening to everybody involved talk, it's just like, it's a circus. So
yeah,
everybody watch this series on HBO Max if you're able. It's a fucking, I'm not,
like, I feel like I don't know who to believe, and then everybody involved just got used.
Yeah,
in some way or another.
Yeah, and somehow it's all like pointing back to Christine Barnett. Hey, you know, speaking of which, we are reviewing a movie called, what is it called, Alex?
Today?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Children of the Corn. It's Christine.
Yeah, we're talking about John Carpenter's 1983, I guess you could call it a classic.
Yeah, the way that this took place, though, was really cool, the way this happened, to picking the selection of this movie.
Yeah, because Children of the Corn is also a Stephen King property, which is, you know, number 4 is not, definitely not. And then, you know, this all just, everything kind of falls into place somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to the movie here in just a moment. We also watched Black Swan, which is a favorite. Really, really love that movie, and it just doesn't get old. You know, it's such a good performance from Natalie Portman. Everybody gives a good performance in that. And I really like Mila Kunis. I always have. I've loved her since That 70s Show, and everything that she's in is always really good. But man, I don't know how the fuck you conned me into revisiting Oz the Great and Terrible.
Like, I just like Mila Kunis, and I'm just like, oh my, like every time, like I kept on watching her in Black Swan, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's making me want to watch her in Oz, because I just remembered her as like so much better than what I actually saw when I showed Stanley. Like, we need to watch this movie. It's super, like, you need to watch it again, like, but don't criticize it. Just watch it.
Oh no, I
criticized the entire time.
Yeah, I tried really hard to keep my mouth shut, and for the most part I did, but I can safely say I will never be watching Oz the Great and Powerful again. No.
It was so bad.
But yeah, that's about as much as we did for movies. I mean, we watched Sister Death as well, and that was something that Alex was hemming and hawing about reviewing.
I love this movie so much, and I like, you gotta just watch the ending. You gotta just fucking watch the ending. It's so fucking good the way it's done. It's like, what did I say?
I don't remember.
Carrie, it's like Carrie meets something. Like, it's just something really cool.
Well, you're weird with your descriptions. You're like, oh, you know, this movie is like Jaws meets A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. And I'm like, what is it? And you're like, Tangled. And I'm like, what?
No lie.
And I'm like, how did you just compare a Disney film to...
just watch it.
And you're like, no. You'll see it.
That Skin movie that we just watched with the Suitable Flesh.
Oh God, it's another movie I never want to hear about again.
Oh.
You know, I'm gonna start keeping mental notes about the movies that I
really just need to watch the end of this movie, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. He keeps falling asleep to chocolate.
Oh look, you know what?
Death by Chocolate.
No, I'm gonna have some Mountain Huckleberry ice cream right now.
I know, it sounds delicious.
So fucking good. Okay, so. You know, now that we've already blurted out what we're talking about, even though if you've clicked on this episode, you should be well aware that we're talking about Christine. Alex, you are familiar with Stephen King, obviously. What is your favorite Stephen King property? Because I know you are not a big reader. Everyone knows you are not, but you like Stephen King films.
Yeah, so right? I would say this one is, like, Christine, honestly, is the first Stephen King film that I actually purchased myself and had in my own little teenage collection.
Right. Let me interrupt you real quick, because with that being said, this was your pick.
Yes, it was.
Let's actually start there.
Yeah, I had came home and Stanley was like, "Oh man, Scotty stopped by," and I let him borrow the Pet Sematary 2 film because they're gonna podcast about it coming up.
Holla.
Yeah, listen to Fun with Horror coming up.
Yes.
So in return, Scotty gave Stanley the score to Christine in a record
On vinyl
on
as a
vinyl.
gift,
And
Scotty.
when I came home, I was like, holy shit, it's fucking beautiful, first of all. Thank you, Scotty. Second of all, I was like, we're gonna fucking do Christine the movie. Like, I got so excited. I literally genuinely was like, we're gonna not do Sister Death because that was originally my intention to do. And I scrapped that shit so quick. I was like, we're gonna do Christine. It's one of my favorites, and it's a really good fucking movie.
And you had like a couple of good reasons too.
Yeah.
And like the reasons that you gave me, I was like, yo, you know what? Like these actually like make a lot of sense. We had just done Midnight Kiss, which
Yeah.
was super gay
Yeah.
and super on par with what it is that we're doing here. And I had just gone on record with the last episode saying like, oh, I want to do more current movies, or we had just agreed that we were going to do more up-to-date films. And then Alex was like, you know, like maybe Sister Death will be the next one. And then when he mentioned Christine, he was like, you know, like this movie kind of has like a bunch of queer undertones. I was like, yeah, you know what? It kind of does. And as big of a Stephen King fan as I am, I have only seen Christine once. I saw this with my friend Bill about a year ago, maybe. Yeah, I think it was about a year ago. And I talked about it on Stanley Boy Reviews. And I liked it a lot. Like, I think it's a really, really good movie from what I remember. And I had the book, I had a first edition copy, and I don't have it anymore. I never read the book though. And I love Stephen King. A lot of people know that Pet Sematary is my favorite, and I've read many, many Stephen King books, but I never read this one. And I know there's quite a few differences between the novel and this movie, and we're not really going to get into the book. We're here to talk about the film, but I was really excited to get into both the Stephen King and John Carpenter territory because, you know, this is a horror podcast.
It's a gay horror podcast, and we're gonna gay this movie up.
Yeah, and you know, after rewatching this for, you know, for this purpose, I caught quite a bit of gay.
Oh man.
There's
nut grabbing, there's tight jeans.
Oh my god. And we'll get to like the semi truck scene. Like holy shit. Like when you pointed that out today, I was like, what in the
We'll get there.
So yeah, we will get there as well. So now let's go back to the question that I had asked you first. So this is your favorite Stephen King property. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, because you know me in Possession, and to me, and let me start back from the beginning because when I first met Stanley, I always kept on asking him, have you ever seen this movie about a car, about a car, about a car? And it wasn't Christine. It was just about this car, the car.
Let's be clear, with James Brolin from like the 70s, it's not very good.
One of my first movies that I've ever seen about a possessed vehicle, you know, no driver behind the wheel, dark tinted windows, front, back, side, everything. And this car's just terrorizing this town, kind of like the movie Birds to me was this car in place of birds. You know, just terrorizing up and down. They run to cemetery. It's just like, to me, it was the most horrific idea to be chased down by a possessed car. Like, where do you go? How quick can it turn? And you know, what the fuck? Who's driving? So when I saw Christine, I was in love with this movie because the way that Christine is the fucking star of the movie. Like, honestly, genuinely, the music that she plays to vocalize what she's thinking and what's going to come up next, you know, and like what her plan is, you know, for a kill. She's letting you know through music, through sound, like what she's doing, like the rumble in her engine. Every single thing about this fucking car is just so good.
So you're telling me that you are Christine.
I am Christine.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that this is like such a personal movie for you.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The color of the car alone. You see the car. It's fucking beautiful.
Oh, the car is beautiful. The car is very beautiful. I think the car is a 1957. Yeah, I think in the book it's a 1958.
Oh, it's a 58. Yeah, you're right, because that's for the year that the movie starts.
And well, the movie starts in 1978. No. It takes when it jumps into the future with Arnie, with our lead character. It takes place in 78.
Before it's 58.
You're right.
But it's a Plymouth Fury 57.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. It's this bright, beautiful shade of red. She's a beauty. She's a beauty. And they had a couple of cars made for the movie, I think.
Yeah, there was about like 23 of them, I think, that they used, and then some of them that weren't even Plymouth type Furies, that they just changed the front end to make it look like this Phantom Fury.
Yeah, it's really cool what they did. And what I think is funny is that the book was published in April of 1983, and the movie came out in December of the same year. So there was only a 7-month stretch between the publishing of the book and the release of the film. This movie got made really, really quick. I just think that's fucking bonkers.
That is really cool.
And I mean, y'all know that Pet Sematary is my jam with Stephen King. I really like The Shining. Sleepwalkers is also right up there on my list, and I know that that's like kind of controversial.
I see. Here's some stuff that I fetched up for it. How he got the idea for Christine was back in 1978 when Stephen King was walking home one day and thinking about his dying Pinto.
Okay.
And then this Pinto has a significance with like other movies that he's done too. So this dying Pinto that he had also gave him the inspiration for Cujo, because that movie was where the mom and the kid were trapped inside of a Pinto.
Right.
And he actually owned this Pinto. And I think he bought it with the money that he made off of Carrie, is what I'm understanding, like in some of the facts that I found.
I love this.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, so if that car, say, it would be fucking in a museum right now had he still owned that Pinto. Because it's literally inspiration for like books, and movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No,
really
like it's
cool.
this is the Pinto that inspired Christine.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
the Pinto that paid for, or
And-
this is yeah, I get what you
And you
mean.
notice too, like in the movie when Arnie shows up with like, there's a Pinto right next to it.
I
And they
didn't
were like,
notice that. No,
I was like, is that his car? Is that like Stephen King's car? No.
that's fun. I love that. What is your favorite John Carpenter film?
I would probably say Halloween.
Yeah, I really like Halloween a lot. Yeah, Halloween came out in 78. This came out in 83. I really, really like Village of the Damned from 95. He remade that. And John Carpenter's an interesting case, though, because I feel like a lot of his horror films they ended up getting a little bit cheaper. They just ended up losing effect as the years went by. I think he was best at the beginning. So it's one of those cases. Whereas Wes Craven got better as time went on, John Carpenter kind of declined, in my own personal opinion.
Like, well, this movie has a pretty big cast,
Mhm.
I think, and
Yeah.
then the main star of the whole movie is the Plymouth, the car.
Oh yeah, Christine is absolutely.
So I feel like he literally didn't care about spending money on the faces of the car, how much money he was putting into the cars, because he had no star. That was the star of the movie.
Yeah.
For this movie, he's like, just spend whatever he needs to spend.
Yeah, and it had what was the budget, Alex?
Oh, you know what? It was 10 million.
And it brought in 20 million at
It
the
was
top.
it made half, a little more than half its money.
And for a horror movie in the early 80s based off of a Stephen King property, like that's not terrible.
No,
That's not terrible at all. Okay, so this is probably a good segue into
The People Under the Stairs.
Directed by John Carpenter, written by Bill Phillips, starring Keith Gordon as Arnie, John Stockwell as Dennis, Alexandra Paul as Lee. And let me go back to Dennis. I told you while we were watching the movie that he reminded me of the first version of Paul Walker,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and to me he looks exactly like Kevin Bacon.
Alexandra Paul as Lee, Robert Prosky as Will Darnell, Harry Dean Stanton as Detective Rudy Jenkins, Christine Bedford and Robert Darnell as Regina and Michael. That Regina. Arnie's parents. Roberts Blossom as George Lee Bay. Music by John Carpenter. Woo! And Alan Howarth.
Mm-hmm.
Release date on December 9th, 1983 by Columbia Pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and for scores, we do have critical response 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. For Metacritic, 57 out of 100.
So this movie, it did not get like amazing reviews, but it's also not like, it's not terrible. And this has like a huge cast, by the way. There's like a whole bunch of people in this movie. So everyone else that falls into the plot, we will point out names as the story unfolds. But everyone that Alex mentioned already, those are the main players, I would say.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of background on the movie before we get into the plot and such. This movie was produced by a man named Richard Kobritz, and he had just come off of producing Salem's Lot, which was another Stephen King novel. So he purchased the rights to Christine after being sent both this book and Cujo, which Stephen King also wrote. Kobritz had wanted John Carpenter to direct this, but he was already attached to 2 different projects, one of them being another King property as well, called Firestarter, but that got delayed, so he got the opportunity to do this. Kobritz and Carpenter had worked together before in the late 70s on a television movie called Someone's Watching Over Me, and Carpenter would get his friend Roy Arbogast to be the special effects supervisor on the movie. And Carpenter is on the record saying that he looked at this directing gig more as a job and didn't take it personally because the thing was a box office flop. He needed this to revive his career. The thing had just come out, I think it was the year before, and did not perform very well. And I think that's an understatement. So there are some vast differences between the book and the movie, which I had already talked about.
Yeah, we'll get to the points, but I mean to the parts, but like, yeah, there's so many differences for people that read the books and then watch the movies. I just feel like just watch the movie with an open mind. Just like I pointed out that big old book that said it's something about fiction. What was it?
Understanding Fiction.
Understanding Fiction, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because John Carpenter reflected on this movie back in 2023, and like I'm going to read a quote that he said. He said, "I love my cast in that movie. And the great character actor, Harry Dean Stanton, was on that. He is quite a character. I really loved him. But it was a fun movie to make and easy. Nothing tough about it. And it did okay, you know? It opened all right. So people were kind, which is nice." And I think it's kind of cool that he looks back on it and he has like not really negative things to say about it. But there's a contradicting thing that Stephen King said back in 2003 while Stephen King was promoting Dreamcatcher, which I think is a piece of shit movie. But he had to say this about He had this to say about Christine. He said that it was boring, and quote, "I may just be the most adapted novelist in modern times, and I don't say that with pride so much as with a kind of stunned bemusement. I'm thinking chiefly of Christine, and Stanley Kubrick's take on The Shining should have been good, but well, they just aren't. They're actually sort of boring. Speaking for myself, I'd rather have bad than boring." Which I don't fucking understand because there are a lot worse Stephen King adaptations out there, and this is not one of them.
I mean, he managed to make a car a slasher.
Yeah, and again, I've not read the book, but I have heard that the book is not his best.
Really?
You know, and I get why people love The Shining, but I also get why people fucking hate The Shining.
So the book, the difference, now that we're talking about it, here's Flash Up and Bleed Out, per se, the opening of the movie, the car in the movie, the car is manifested itself as evil or bad as in the making of it.
I think so, yeah. So in the book, the car is possessed by the spirit of the person who died in it last, like Richard or Roland LeBay or whoever. He had killed himself in the car, and his spirit has possessed the car. So that's who's possessing Christine, and that's who's forcing Arnie to do all these terrible things, and that's who has possessed the car to do the things when Arnie is not around.
In the book.
Yeah. In the movie, the car is just built bad on the assembly line.
Yeah.
And so those are the 2 key differences as far as I know.
It's like it's built bad, but the owner, that Lee Bay or whatever, he's the one that instilled the evil into the car.
I think so.
In the movie.
He's the one that instilled the evil into the car. But no, I don't think so. Because if you're bad and you die in something, then your spirit just lingers, right? Because he was just a bad guy. In the book, he's a bad guy. And in the movie, he's also a bad guy. Because Darnell, when Christine is brought into the shop, he says to Dennis, he says, "I know someone who died in that car. I think I know
a guy that died in a car like this."
Yeah, and he was not a nice guy, remember?
He was not a nice guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's LeBay.
Exactly. It's very subtle. So, I guess with that being said, guys, we could just get into this movie. I think that
let's get into this Plymouth.
Let's jump into this car. I mean, we could get into the filming. This movie was filmed in Santa Clarita. It was filmed in Los Angeles.
If you want to know the color of the car, it was ordered in the book as autumn red, which does not exist in the Mopar catalog. And back in 1958, 58, Plymouth only offered Toreador red, metallic coral or royal red, and the car was delivered in Toreador red.
And this is why we have Alex. Guys.
With iceberg white roof, priced at $3,000 in 1958. Guys, can you imagine paying $3,000 for a car like that?
We have to have a Latino on hand because
Yeah.
Latinos give a fuck about their automobiles. And I'm telling you, Alex takes really good care of his car.
I
and
do.
you could put my little Chevy Spark next to his Nissan
Rogue.
Grandeur,
Something big.
whatever the fuck it is, but it's in much better condition than mine. Like he wipes it down when he
I
gets
like
out of the
cars.
car. And you know, people do like their cars.
Christine is fitted with a 5.7 liter Golden Commando V8 and 2 4-barrel carburetors, producing 227 kW and a 500 Nm.
Here is Alex reeling you back in with his auto erotica. Fuck,
I
man.
do work for you guys so you can relax and hear the podcast.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. Jeez. Okay, so now, and you know what? I meant to tell you. Okay, let's jump back just for a second. Okay, so back to
Jump out of the car.
yeah, we're getting back out of the Plymouth real quick, and I'm telling you what I found on Wikipedia.
Oh, here it goes.
Casting originally wanted Brooke Shields, Kevin Bacon, and Scott Baio,
Oh, that guy.
whatever the freak his
I
name
hate
is.
him.
We're not big fans.
I never liked him. I don't understand why everybody used to go crazy over that
Well,
mess.
Joni loved Chachi, bro.
And we love Joni.
And I didn't love either of them. But obviously they went with the actors that they chose. But yeah, I just think it's so funny that Kevin Bacon and John Stockwell look so similar. And I think that this movie would have been so different if they went with Brooke Shields, though.
Yeah, but I see the Kevin Bacon that you're talking about. But Brooke Shields, yeah, I think so.
I love Kevin Bacon.
You know,
Ooh. Okay, so now let's get back into this motherfucking Plymouth.
start the car.
No, get in.
Oh.
Get in. All right, kids. Let's talk about Christine. Christine goes like this.
She is seductive. She is passionate. She is possessive. She is pure evil. She is Christine, a 1958 Plymouth Fury, possessed by hell. Her previous owner is not alive to warn her present one. Once she lures you behind the wheel, you will be hers, body and soul. There is no place you can hide, no place you can run, and nothing you can do can stop her. Because how do you kill something that can't possibly be alive? Christine. Body by Plymouth. Soul by Satan.
Okay. So Christine opens on the logo. John Carpenter's Christine. We get the credits. The sound of an engine running. The sound of an engine running. It sounds pretty. George Thorogood sings Bad to the Bone. You know the one. It plays in an auto factory in Detroit that is pumping out a plethora of Plymouths. We pay special attention to a bright, beautiful red one. And we already talked about this car. Alex just gave us all the details we need on it. And
57.
is it 57 or 58?
Oh, 58. Well, the year now is a 58, like the movie starting.
Oh, yeah.
58.
Okay, yeah, we're in the year 1958. Good call. So, wait, what was your first car?
My first car, I can't remember the name. I drove a Camry. It was a 4-door Camry, colored gold, and I drove it to my first job. That was Walmart in Porter Ranch.
I love it. My first car was a 1995 Mazda Protege.
How cute.
Yeah, I bought it from Christine. Christine, yeah, you met her. One of my very best friends. Okay, so
I'm so shocked.
yeah. Dun dun dun. The hood slams on the hand of a worker immediately, and the worker is taken away. And it's like she bites him.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is our first slash.
Yeah, I guess so. The car is given a character immediately, and she does not like people touching her
Oh, it's fucking great.
unless she likes you.
the music already.
Yeah. And another worker sits in the driver's seat and turns on the radio, and we get an oldie song. And it's that You're Gonna Give Your Love to Me
hmm
song. All the songs are oldies, and like Alex said, she vocalizes through music with to express her feelings. So the guy is smoking a cigar and he ashes it on the seat. And then hours are passing and everyone leaves for the day except one worker who hears the song coming from Christine. He goes to inspect and finds the corpse of the man in the front seat unexplainably dead. So it is very clear from the beginning that this car is born bad.
Yeah.
We flash forward to September 12th, 1978.
And let me stop you real quick because the transition of how they did this was so cool. I don't know if you caught the music, but when it was happening with Christine and this guy dying in the car, the music was 1950s boppy.
Yeah.
And then when it went to 78, it was the same song, but it was done in rock and roll style.
I noticed that.
Fucking cool. Like,
I
wow, what a
totally
transition. That was so fucking cool.
I fucking love that you caught that.
Yeah, I love that shit. I was like thrilled about it.
Yeah, and so we went from Detroit, which is like, Motown, over to California with like the
Rock and roll LA lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Dennis picks up Arnie in his beautiful blue ride. Dennis is cool, Arnie is not, but they are best friends.
How in the fuck?
We're not sure. Arnie's mom is not fun. Let's just throw that out there right now. Arnie's parents kind of suck.
She is Christine in human form.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah, she's a bitch, dude.
That's funny. The contrast between Arnie and Dennis is like supremely out of this world. I don't think that these guys would be friends in real life.
Not at all. And it doesn't make sense because you're not neighbors. How did you grow up? Like, I don't get it. And there's so many more people you can pick to be your friends at school. Unless Dennis is just a really cool guy and just talks to everybody. Or they have, building cars in common.
Yeah. Like, I mean, either way, it's still believable because the way that these actors have chemistry, like it's...
Yes.
And also, this is the second movie that we've covered that deals with something related to the word fellatio.
I know.
So...
Fellatio? What's with the fellatio? So happiness?
Yeah, fellatio means or blowjob.
Okay, so it's not. Oh, it is happiness though.
It is. Yeah,
happiness.
You are not wrong, sir.
It does mean happiness. No, because there is a particular meaning for fellatio that does not refer to sexually. It's an actual word that you can use for good fortune, happiness, and good fortune.
I want you to prove that to me.
Okay, fellatio is a lyrical name of Latin origin derived from felix, which we use for feliz Navidad, feliz dia, feliz, vive feliz, like my shirt.
Like I said,
It means happiness and good fortune. From this word, it also emerges the word felicitas, which means like to say hello to somebody in a state of mind that the Roman culture deemed as productive.
Okay. Okay, Alex.
Cars, you want to know about fellatio? I'll teach you both. Oh.
You heard it here. Alex is going to teach me about fellatio.
Yeah.
Also, go listen to our Black Christmas episode.
More fellatio for you.
The boys discuss getting Arnie laid now that they're seniors, because this is an American Pie movie. We get the straight dude jerk off talk as they drive to school. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, this movie has like some like little homo stuff.
Yeah, but there's plenty of cunt being thrown around. So
we also get the word cunt quite aggressively. When they get to school, we find out that Dennis is a big time jock, but has a fucked up knee, but he's going to be playing ball this year. Kelly Preston is also in this movie. Rest in peace. But wow, she is so gorgeous. Like 1983, Kelly Preston is beautiful. And I mean, she never was not beautiful, but even the few times that I've seen this movie, I forget that she's in it.
Yeah, me too. Even when I saw her again, and you had mentioned her, and I watched her again, and I'm like, who is this beautiful chick? She's so gorgeous. Why aren't they going out with her?
Oh, ta-ta for now. Isn't there like there's like a subplot where she's kind of a hoe, right? Don't they?
I think it's what the boys have made of her, but in all honesty, I think that's why they're not asking her out, because everybody's just made a hoe of her, in word. But like pointing, maybe she didn't want to hook up with somebody, and they just made a hoe out of her, and she's just a school hoe.
I think she's so cute.
Yeah, she is really cute.
So we're introduced to a mutual friend named Bemis. Not a big fan. What does he say? He says, she looks smart, but has the body of a slut.
And I know, he's so mean, and he's like, you don't want to eat that. You don't know where it's been.
Well, with this line, he's referring to Lee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when they're in the library already.
Oh, well, no, this is when she's coming down the hall.
Oh, when she's being walked from the, those weird socks.
Yeah. God, and she's like wearing Argyle.
Yes.
And I feel like
I
she's
was I
very
saw that too, and I wasn't the only
no,
staring at her weird outfit.
miss.
Yes, you have to park your horse outside.
Pardon?
Fellatio?
Oh my god. It's hard for me to sit through set pieces where nerdy kids can't open their lockers or where they splash through mud puddles and get their shoes wet
Or their book falls.
yeah, like I hate it. Like Welcome to the Dollhouse, like stuff like that. It
Mhm.
really really bugs me. Like and this is like total Stephen King territory. Like the bullied person. You know,
Well, this
Carrie.
isn't the introduction of the outcast in every single movie is the same, book hugging nerd,
Yeah. And Stephen King is notorious for this.
And we love that because it's our revenge movies.
Oh, exactly. So this makes it makes it all the more fun when Arnie does discover Christine and when Christine starts fucking people up.
There's a little bit of Carrie in everyone.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, God. And let's just say that right now that Carrie is
Pet Cemetery.
well, no, I love Pet Cemetery, but Carrie is such an ultimate fantasy, like when it
Yeah.
comes to like that high school
Mhm.
revenge tale. You know what I mean? And I'm not the first person to say that.
I think that's the bar.
Yeah, that sets the bar. But it's like Stephen King wrote this, and it was like you already kind of wrote this.
Yeah.
You know, you already wrote Carrie, but this is like a great sidebar to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but going back to what I was saying about the set pieces about nerdy kids, like kind of getting into weird little situations, like
Yeah.
not being able to open their lockers or stuff. Dennis is waiting for Arnie at lunch, but another classmate tells him that Arnie is being tortured down at the shop, which is a class that his parents don't want him to take in the first place. But he's down at shop and he's getting bullied by the schools who have taken his lunch. And Buddy, who is the leader of like this group of bullies, pulls a knife, destroys his lunch, which again, I fucking hate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then Dennis defends him, but Buddy steps on Arnie's
I
glasses.
hate Buddy, not the glasses, man. I hate
No.
that shit. I wear glasses and that shit sucks.
He
Like,
can't
you break your
see.
glasses. I can't see without my glasses.
No. And
Where are
then
his glasses?
and then the fat kid grabs Dennis's dick and then calls him the dick face.
Our first homo ref? No, the talk between Arnie and Dennis to the right to school seemed a little homoerotic.
Oh,
So
it was-
this classifies this as a homoerotic film.
Yeah, we got a lot of gay stuff. And you know, in just a few moments later, I feel like this is like the beginning of a porno.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
like-
plenty of openings in this motherfucking film, man. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, so the shop teacher, Mr. Casey, shows up and breaks up the fight and sends Buddy to the principal's office for having the knife. I cannot get over the fact that most of these bullies have played geeky losers in other movies. Like one of the guys was the loser at the beginning of Ghostbusters that's getting tricked by Bill Murray during the
The 80s version of the Ghostbusters?
yeah, like during the card scene at the beginning.
Mhm.
And another one was a weirdo in Just One of the Guys and Friday the 13th Part 2. And I swear to God that Buddy is John Travolta.
He is, and I told you that he reminds me so much of that guy that came out in the Carrie movie with, gosh, what's her name? Zoe? No?
Zoe.
The one Carrie where she puts the car at the gas station and then she makes the car fly into.
Chloe?
Yeah, Chloe.
Chloe Moretz?
I don't know why I said Zoe. Or what did I say even?
You said Zoe.
Chloe Moretz. She reminds me of the guy that's playing John Travolta in that version of Carrie.
Okay.
You know, like, or even if he's playing that, but that guy.
Okay, yeah. Like it's like a
Same character.
rip off.
Yeah,
It's like a rip off John Travolta. It's like a stunt double.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Yeah.
It took long just trying to explain that out.
I mean, I was here for it.
Yeah,
I'm here to
yeah.
help you break it down. So Dennis takes Arnie home, but on the way, Arnie sees a car in a driveway that catches his attention. It's a beat up piece of junky shit, but it's Christine.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, they stop and examine her, which obviously this is the possessed car from the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie.
And I know everybody's wondering, if the bitch is possessed, why is she just sitting in an empty lot, right? Well, the thing is that Christine cannot come to life until she is moved, like, constantly. Like, she just has to be moved and moved and moved and moved and moved. So the fact that Arnie drives her and starts, like, building her up and moving her every day is what gives her life.
Yeah, she needs
That's why
attention.
She doesn't, she's just sitting in an empty lot for years. She's been sitting, it's like, why don't she just turn on and rebuild herself? Duh.
Yeah, she needs the attention and she needs to feel the love from like
Yeah.
a male.
Yeah, be driven, be moved. The brother didn't want nothing to do with it, which was the ex-owner's brother.
Yeah.
He just left it abandoned in the property.
She's like the other woman,
Yeah.
you know, and we've all been there. We've all been Christine.
So once she gets attention, she gets the pearls, the diamonds, the lingerie.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it does sound like there's a lot of parts in the movie where Christine looks like a woman. It makes you feel like she's the woman getting dressed in lingerie, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So they meet LeBay, who will, of course, go to save Kevin in about 7 years from Marvin Harry. That's a Home Alone reference because it's the same actor, just in case you guys can't tell. He tells him that his brother used to own Christine, and he's dead now, and he's selling her. So Arnie writes him a check for $250. Dennis tries his best to talk him out of it, but Arnie is dead set on buying her. Dead set.
Yeah, he's done. He reeled in, possessed. Oh.
Yeah, like already. So, and let's talk about Roberts Blossom. Like, this guy is a great character actor. He started like on the older side of things. He acted until like the end of his career. He's the guy who plays the old man in Home Alone, like I just said. And he's great here. He's super creepy. He's got such a cool name. And he is the first to deliver the shitter line. And the shitter line is going to come back into play later on.
Okay. Because that's the brothers' language. Most likely they're brothers and whatever. Right?
Yeah, well, they are brothers. Yeah. So Arnie's parents are not happy about his purchase and tell him he can't keep the car there. Dennis is blamed for not stopping him. Arnie retaliates against them. We get the true dynamic of the relationship between them pretty early on. Mom sucks, dad is a pushover, and Arnie has been a doormat his entire life. So mom, like, for example, what did you say?
Oh, she's such a bitch.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah, she's terrible. And Arnie has been like in the chess club. He's been in band and he's been doing everything short of going to jail, he says.
Yeah, whatever. They're treating him like he fucking murdered somebody.
Yeah, and he just doesn't want to be treated like a kid his entire life. And he's almost 18 and he just wants to do something like for himself, and they are not even giving him that. So it's a little unreasonable. His parents are super strict.
Yeah.
Arnie cannot keep the car there, so he takes it to Darnell's auto wrecking. I love when Arnie has to have Dennis honk his horn because Christine's horn doesn't work.
Yeah.
So they can get Darnell to open the garage. This whole scene is great. Then going into Darnell's. And Darnell is played by Robert Prosky, I think is his last name, Prosky or Prosky. And he's the guy from Mrs. Doubtfire. He plays Mr. Lundy. And he gives Arnie the rundown on the do's and don'ts of keeping his car in the garage. It's hilarious, I think. We had already mentioned the subtlety that Darnell gives Dennis when he's talking about LeBay, when he says, I know someone who died in a car like that before.
But this is that part where they're discussing that.
That's when it happens. Yeah. And
giving us the idea that's the same car.
Yeah. And he is so fucking good, this guy. Even when he goes from hard to mean to hard again, like it's such a difference. It's such a difference between this and like Mrs. Doubtfire. Like this guy's like a really good character actor.
Yeah.
And Arnie too, come to think of it. But, we'll get there when all that stuff starts happening. So Dennis drops Arnie off at home, and they have a cute little almost gay moment in the car, or so we could hope, I guess, before Arnie gets out. Literally, Arnie does the "Am I ugly" thing to Dennis. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's kind of adorable, and it really cements their friendship, and you have Bonnie Raitt singing when he drives off, and it's really perfect. So 3 weeks later, Arnie is bringing Christine back to life, and he's lost his glasses, and Darnell is noticing, and all we are doing is noticing Arnie's hair and how it flares out behind his ears, like you had mentioned.
Flaring out of his damn ears like that.
Darnell offers Arnie parts and money in exchange for picking up around the place. Also kind of gayish, just saying. Arnie is being seduced by Christine. She sings to him. Dennis and Bemis and another guy are trying to find a way to talk to Lee. And Dennis finally gets the courage to ask her out, but she already has a date. And
mind you, Christine doesn't return the love, so Arnie's like just falling into her shit.
Yeah.
She's like, yep.
Yes. Dennis goes to pick up Arnie for a movie, but Arnie is too cool for him now. It like happens really quick. That's like one of my qualms about the movie, but I guess that's also like just the story itself. It happens very fast. He says he forgot to call him, has to work, gets into Christine and takes off, even though Mom is chasing after him, asking him to stay. Mom tells Dennis that when she signed the registration papers at Town Hall, they found out the previous owner had died inside of carbon monoxide poisoning, but they have yet to tell Arnie about it. Bum, bum, bum. So we find out that, and Dennis goes to LeBay the next day. LeBay tells him that his brother was basically obsessed with the car, that his 5-year-old daughter died in the car too, but he still kept her, and that his wife also killed herself in the car. He still did not want to get rid of her.
Yeah.
And he finally got his brother to get rid of Christine, but she somehow found her way back, but he does not tell him how. And this is true Stephen King fashion. It's really creepy, and you get a little bit of exposition.
So this is how we learn, because remember in the assembly line, Christine had already been attacking the employees of the company and then purchased by LeBay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like
it's one of those things that if you start asking too many questions, you're going to get lost in it, because you're like, wait, if the car was already attacking people in the beginning, how did LeBay, so just understanding fiction plays a big role.
Yeah, that's right. Dennis breaks into Darnell's to investigate Christine, tries to get into her, and then Keep a Knockin' comes on. Scared, he leaves the way he came, right out the window.
Super scary.
Yeah, and again, yes, so we're an hour in, and we're just now starting to get like these little like vignettes of Christine and like her reactions to things like that. So we already know that she's
alive.
She's no good, but we're starting to get these
little malevolent things she's starting to do.
Yeah, like retaliations.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that Dennis's knee was okay enough for him to actually be playing football, but here we are. We're playing ball the next day at Calabasas High School, baby. Arnie pulls up in Christine. Buddy and the bullies see him, one of them saying they know where he keeps her. And Dennis sees Arnie let Lee out Christine's passenger side and is seriously injured during his distraction. Now, I fucking felt this. Like the way that he is injured, like in this football game, like he gets fucked up. And it's the only jump scare you see.
Yeah, I looked at you and I was like, I think you can mark that as your only jump scare in this movie.
Yeah, the bullies literally jump up and clap. It's fucking horrific. And the way the camera like sets on Christine, you can tell that Christine as a character loved this because I mean it's her doing.
Yeah, really. The attention was towards her, and then because she shows up and she's all fixed up and pretty now. Mind you, this was the work that Arnie had been putting into her already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then this is going on. He gets flipped over. He also shows up with the hottest girl in school.
Yeah.
And Dennis can't do shit about it. He's playing the game, and that's how he gets hurt.
And it's really suspenseful. Like we can sense the oncoming dread from this point forward. It's like Christine is getting jealous. It's getting weird. We're feeling it.
Arnie's starting to change his appearance. He no longer has his glasses on. He's dressing more like a rebel.
Yeah, and so everything that's supposed to be like lifting, like we're feeling it now.
Yeah.
So Arnie goes to visit Dennis at the hospital, and Dennis is hurt. He will not be playing football again, ever. He was almost paralyzed, 1 centimeter off of never being able to walk again. Dennis asks about Arnie and Lee. Arnie reveals that if his parents hadn't registered the car, he was going to drop out of school. Arnie is keeping it very cool about Lee. He's basically making it sound like she doesn't really matter to him. Mm-hmm. And then he makes a comment about his parents. He says, the part of being a parent is killing your kids, or doesn't he say something like that?
Something like that. Well, Arnie's just falling into this darkness now of being by himself and being influenced now by Christine. So it's kind of like if your kid is acting up and he's hanging out now with a drug addicted, friend, and this friend is starting to teach him the wrong ways. Is the concern here, because Arnie's no longer hanging out with Dennis and his group of friends that he would hang out in school. He's literally only obsessed with Christine now, and it's just him and Christine, and he's becoming like Christine now, like just the two of them.
Yeah. And this goes into the drive-in set piece, and this is probably one of the most popular parts of the movie, right?
Yeah, I would believe this is, if you're talking about this movie, everybody knows this. What we're talking about right now.
Yeah. So Arnie and Lee are hooking up in Christine, but Lee bounces. She doesn't want to participate in any sort of sexual activity within Christine's doors because she can feel Christine's jealousy. And she also can sense Arnie loves her more than her, if this wording makes any sense.
Yeah.
And what were you singing? You were singing a Shania Twain song.
Plug in Shania Twain song right here that take off your shoes before you let me get.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So men are obsessed with their cars.
They get back in the car. Lee slaps Christine and says, "You don't like me slapping your girl."
That's so funny.
Yeah. Arnie
slapping your girl.
Arnie doesn't like the fact that Lee is acting jealous over his baby. He notices something up with the windshield wiper, so he gets out to fix it. It's like pouring down rain. When he does, we get what I consider the moment of the film. This is like the best moment of the movie for me. It's one of them anyway. The radio flips on like a really creepy song with lyrics that say stuff like "We belong together."
Yeah.
And a ghostly white light shines in the car and the doors lock and Lee begins to choke. And granted, she just took a big bite out of a burger, but it's like she's being strangled by an unseen force. And of course, we know it's the evil spirit, but
if they're sucked out of you, you're going to choke on whatever you have in your mouth.
Yeah, but to the car next door, who the fuck knows what it looks like? So the person in that car saves Lee. What are your thoughts on this scene?
I hate it because of Arnie's reaction to what's going on, and he feels like the girl is getting attacked by the guy that's helping her, and she didn't do anything. And the way that she responds to Arnie, you know, like not helping her, not caring like enough to try to open the door, is just sickening to me. Like, I don't like Arnie's reaction to this at all.
Yeah, I don't love Arnie at all, like throughout the whole movie, and I progressively do not like him as the movie goes on, but he becomes more and more despicable as he becomes more and more possessed.
Yeah.
So he takes her home, and she is rightfully horrified, and she will not get back in the car and gives Arnie an ultimatum that it's her or Christine. And Arnie's not having it. He accuses her of being sexually frustrated, which no girl wants to hear, especially after almost dying in their car.
Yeah, really.
And so she basically tells him to suck dick. Arnie goes back to Christine, who refuses to start because now she's talking back. You know, she knows that the other girl's winning. Arnie says, "Come on, Christine. Come on, baby. Please, everything is the same." And then she starts. And I was like laughing because this is like, dude, like what a fucking trip this movie is. Like Stephen King is such a trip. Like how much cocaine were you doing when you wrote this book?
Okay.
And also I was thinking like Christine was Alexa before her time.
Honestly, I'm telling you.
So Arnie takes Christine back to Darnell's. And before the garage door closes, Buddy and his cohorts sneak in. I guess we should say the actors who play these doofuses. Okay, so we have William Ostrander as Buddy, Stephen Tash as Rich, Stuart Charno as Don, and Malcolm Denare as Moochie. I think those are the names. So yeah, they fuck Christine up. Like they really fuck her up. Like to where she should be unfixable. And dude, it's really uncomfortable. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these kids? They rage the fuck out on this car. Like, when that fat guy goes in for the cushions and stuff and starts stabbing the fucking seats, it's like, who hurt you?
They're like really pissed. Like, what's up with them?
It's bad. So the next morning, Arnie and Lee meet up at Darnell's, and they're going to talk it out, and it's going to be rainbows and butterflies, and Arnie invites her into the garage to pick up Christine, and of course, they don't know what they're about to walk into, but we do, as the audience, and you can feel the surmounting dread.
Wow.
When the camera pans around the corner, and we see the damage to Christine, what was your first thought?
I was initially like, Lee needs to run.
Like,
leave it or run, girl.
Part of me was like, oh, she's going to be rebuilt.
Then what would have happened after?
Well, yeah, but I like there's two things that could have happened. Like it could have just been fine, and then we do need the conflict.
Yeah, honestly.
So we see that the car is completely fucked up, and then Arnie basically attacks Lee because she's trying to comfort him.
Oh man, I just felt like that was so hard for the actress herself. But then you broke it down to where it seems like that on camera, and I'm like, damn, he did a really good job doing this because it seems like he shoves Lee really hard during the scene because he's throwing the word shitter at her. And now we know that it's the brother kind of like being influencing Arnie. So it's not him anymore, but he's just hurting Lee, like, you know, trying to get her away because he's so pissed at her because the conversation that had prior to what happened this night at the drive-in.
Yeah, it's he's becoming a different person. He's becoming the possessed spirit, like more and more.
Yeah, he's like Arnie is probably influenced or possessed by Christine at this point. We're starting to believe.
Well, in the book, he is the spirit of LeBay, the dead LeBay, is like manifesting into him. Like that's what's actually happening.
Yeah, because he's fully aware of what is happening, Arnie. He's not like possessed, you know? Like he knows what his actions are and like how he's responding to people.
So the next scene is Arnie conversing with his parents about what happened to Christine. We learned that one of the bullies took a shit on the dashboard, which is super charming. Defecated, yeah. If we're gonna be classy, gory gays. Arnie's dad says they're going to help buy him a new car. He tells his dad, fuck you, and that he will just fix Christine. He and Pops exchange words, and Arnie displays his power role. Thanks, Christine. he goes to the shop to fix homegirl up, and you kind of see it in his face that he has that hope, but like also there's like that defeat.
Yeah.
And then you hear a noise in Christine's hood, and then we get what I feel is probably the second most known scene in the film, but also probably what everybody else probably thinks of when they think of this movie, and that would be the reconstruction scene.
Yeah. Show me.
Yeah, he stands before Christine, who is still in pieces, and he says, "Show me." Like indicating, like, show me what you got, girl.
Yeah, like I want to see. I know I know who you are. I know what you're doing. So
yeah, and her headlights turn on, and we get a musical zing from John Carpenter. Yeah, because he's not dumb. Like Arnie is
like he's responding to what's going on, so he's like really adapting to the fact that you are going to be my new friend, and you're going to influence me.
Yeah,
change the world.
Yeah, we're gonna do this together, baby. We're in a relationship.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. Christine fucking rebuilds herself, and it's a really, really cool set piece. And how was this done, Alex? Like, what was the effects process?
They were plastic hardcover or plastic covers created to look like Christine, the vehicle. So when the camera captured it, it was made so good that it actually looked like metal to us. But if you see the camera, like if you really try to pick at it when she's crunching up and being reversed to like make it look like she's fixing herself up, you can actually break down the grill to where it looks like fake-ish, plasticky, cardboardy, like a little bit. So they did a really good job, trust me. But you can tell that it's like
for 1983.
Yeah,
it was probably like outlandishly good, but yeah, fucking killer. Like this whole scene.
Watch new movies today, and fucking CGI looks like
and this is not CGI. This is practical as fuck, and it looks really good. Like
this is men at work pushing buttons and pulling ropes and gears and shit,
and hitting rewind in the editing room, and this is a really cool scene. Like the way that this is done is so well done, and I mean, again, I've only seen this movie a couple of times, and each time this scene happens, I'm just smiling and giggling. Like last night, we were like, "Oh my god, this is so fucking cool."
It's kind of like when the bad girl dresses up and she finally embraces the evil in her. Like the Carrie with the veins and the shit. Here we go, Carrie again. But any villainess that plays, the role, and once it's her turnaround point and she's gonna get dressed up in her gear, this is what's happening.
And let's be clear, Alex is talking about Carrie Part 2.
Yes.
He's not talking about Sister SpaceX.
No, not Sister SpaceX.
He's talking about
Tangled.
We're talking about the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
So after this, Mooch, I think his name is dropped off by some trucker. And let's explore this part because this is okay. Yes. First off, where are we? We're under the bridge.
Yes, I believe the bridge to the opening of Halloween 3.
Yeah, somehow we are now
watching Halloween 3.
And so that we get the same music, we have the same
set, every single thing about it. Same car approaching, same lights, everything.
So Mooch gets out of some semi truck. Why we don't know.
Weird, and dropped off in the most random ass place. There's nothing there.
And I'm just saying, if I was some closeted high school fat kid...
Mind you, he's the one that grabbed Dennis's dick at the beginning of the movie.
Good catch.
Oh.
So this is what we think. And I'm saying we because Alex and I are the same birthday, same mind. We think
that you, Mooch.
Moochie was getting his dick sucked on.
Or vice versa, but yeah.
I think that Mooch had a dick in his mouth.
Yeah.
And the guy dropped him off under this underpass.
That's in a dark place somewhere in LA.
Yep.
Santa Clarita.
Because Mooch couldn't be seen by nobody, especially his gang of friends.
I don't know how Christine knew that he was going to be there at that exact moment.
Christine knows everything.
Maybe she's getting her dick sucked.
Christine knows. Christine also wants to suck that dick. Okay, so Moochie hears that song, that really fun one from Matilda,
This whole moment's so good. The way the camera comes around the tower,
amazing.
Tower.
I love it. It's that steady cam slide
turns on and you hear the rumble, and the shake of the car is like, oh, this bitch is alive.
Yeah. So he hears the song, and in the distance from the underpass, you see Christine in the darkness, and he can't see anyone in the driver's seat because nobody's ever driving Christine. She is driving herself because she a bad bitch.
Yeah, you see cars nowadays with the front tinted window too.
Yeah, so she then gives chase and essentially corners him in the alley and cuts him in half. And I abbreviate this, but it is a long chase segment. Like, Moochie is being chased, down alleys through industrial zones until he meets his demise. And
they were scouting for Halloween 3.
Yeah, which, I mean, they both came out the same year. Halloween 3 came out just a month before this.
Really?
Yeah.
And guys, listen to the score. We're not kidding.
I mean, same composers. Let's be real. That's
Well, you thought the cinematography freaked you out because you were like, "That has to be."
I thought this was the same cinematographer, but they're not.
Guys.
They're not. But this is an intense scene. The tension's unreal. And on this revisit, there again, so many fucking homo undertones. Like, I couldn't stop myself from laughing. But I do want to point out that, again, there's no blood in this death. There's quite virtually no blood in this movie. Now that
it's not gory.
There's not
very homo.
It's very homo. So this might not be gory, but this is gay.
Like, what happened when Mooch got out that truck? Who knows how he came out? But
he wiping his face with his sleeve. Arnie visits Dennis in the hospital. Arnie's looking more and more like Frankie Valli by the day. Dennis tells him he heard that Christine got totaled and that he's certain it was Buddy and his goons. Arnie assures him none of them will do it again.
And it's funny because they switched roles. Arnie was a nerd. Now he's looking like, tolerable.
Frankie Valli. And let's be real. Frankie Valli, 1959. Now. Yeah. Frankie Valli.
None of them now. You saw Dennis. I showed you that picture.
Oh my God.
John Stockwell. Ooh,
so legendary Harry Dean Stanton enters our next scene as a detective who questions Arnie about Christine and her perfect revamp, considering what Lee had told him about how destroyed she was. Arnie acts super suspicious because, of course,
another thing that in the book, this detective dies.
Oh yeah, the ending of the book specifically is very different too. So I love, though, that we're throwing in another character this late into the movie, and that it's this guy, and that it works fine. Like,
it makes you nervous because you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
You're like, of course Christine did it.
Yeah, but, like, make it a mystery investigation. Yes. I'm fine with it.
It's another half of the movie, and it turns good. Because we're not only watching one movie, they're literally watching Christine, and we're watching Arnie's life. Like, there's 2 stories in this movie. There's even more if you break it down. There's the fucking goons at school, and there's the parents' life as well.
Yeah. Exactly. And like none of the kills are overly bloody, but we're getting chase scenes and the aftermath discussions involve bloody depictions and such. So I'm not mad with whatever's happening. It's fun. Like Stephen King land is fun.
Mm-hmm.
So Arnie calls Lee. She is not having it. She knows something is terribly wrong and he loses it and hangs up on her.
Oh my gosh. Like I'm telling you, this point of the movie, it's playing this music that's going on and it's just building the nerve inside of your own stomach. Like Stephen King knows what he's doing and so does John, oh my gosh, Carpenter. I looked at you and I was just like, I feel so nervous right now. I feel like this is literally genuinely making me feel like the worst thing is going to happen like in real time. It was like the music buildup is so good right here during the scene.
Yeah. It and you're not wrong. Like it's a very
like I feel it in my gut. And music for a movie, like in a movie to do that to you outside is like, god damn.
And that's one thing with John Carpenter. Like the direction of his films might not be consistent throughout his career, but and people might not agree with me on that, but his music always is consistent.
Yeah.
So Buddy and Rich are driving later and they realize that Christine is behind them. They end up at a gas station where Dawn works and Christine crashes into the station, simultaneously crashing into Rich, killing him. This causes a gas leak and the station to explode as well, killing Dawn too. Christine cruises out of the flames, a flame herself, chasing after Buddy, who is on foot.
This must be the third. If you think of Christine as her rolling down the street all flamed up like that. So there's the choking scene, the show me scene, and this would be another one if you're familiar with Christine.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. Like just like an image of this movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the gas station explosion is also really fucking badass for this early.
They went out.
Yeah, like they're like for the budget, they spent their money wisely, I think. And again, we get the Halloween 3 music.
Yeah, honestly.
Christine simply runs Buddy over and spits his burning corpse out behind her, driving off into the dark distance.
You laughed during this.
I was rolling. Like,
so was he.
Oh yeah, good one. Oh my god. So the next scene, Christine puts herself back at Darnell's while Darnell watches. She's all smoky and shit and no one is driving her and she's all like, sorry guys, don't mind me.
I know you don't smoke in here, but I'm smoking.
Yeah, there's specific instructions from Darnell that nobody can smoke in this building except him and his friends. But Christine comes back like just extinguished.
Yeah.
And it's comical.
And Arnie's out doing work for...
Yeah, Arnie is doing drug deals because you find out like in the book that Arnie is basically like a drug mule for Darnell,
Yeah.
who is running an illicit drug business or like some sort of illegal business.
Darnell makes a phone call to find out if Arnie's driving his Cadillac and
Yeah.
picking up orders, supposedly. 'Cause
Yeah.
then we find out the next morning when he shows up to the shop and the cops are there that he was out all night picking up orders, so he never saw how Darnell's about to.
Yeah. So, and this is how that happens because Darnell goes to find out like what the fuck is going on with this car. So he goes to Christine to check her out and is somehow seduced by the mere sight of
Mhm.
her insides. It's
You
so
see the
weird.
excitement, like in this face, and she's all crisped up, like she's burned.
Yeah, like her insides are fucked up. Like she is not looking too good. And when he sits inside, the car turns on, the door slams shut. She starts playing a song about Skinny Maroney.
Yeah, she's like, "Ma, I got a girlfriend. She's Skinny Maroney," and it's like the chair starts squeezing him skinny. Like, and I'm like, this bitch is so fucking funny.
Yeah. And so long, Darnell. Darnell is toast. And essentially, this movie is about a jealous killer girlfriend.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, next day, Arnie is
Don't kiss a stranger.
Arnie is confronted by
Kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Midnight kiss. Plug.
Midnight Kiss plug. I love that. So the next day, Arnie is confronted by Detective Harry Dean, who tells him that Darnell has been found in Christine's front seat with a shotgun by his side, and Buddy and the Bullies are also dead. And of course, our girl is beautifully reconstructed again. And is it me, or is she getting shinier every time she rebuilds?
She's getting shinier, and the odometer's getting lower and lower and lower. So this is Christine showing us that she's taking life every time she kills somebody.
Yeah, like she's a feisty little bitch.
Yeah.
Lee gets a hold of Dennis so they can discuss what to do about the situation at hand. Dennis tells Lee what she knows about Christine, how he found out about it, etc., etc. Lee tells Dennis she feels she was supposed to be next. And then we get our pivotal, I don't think Arnie is Arnie anymore.
Yeah.
And that's because Arnie is not Arnie anymore.
Arnie was never Arnie. I think he was just always lost and misunderstood. And this is him trying to become a version of Arnie that everybody's like shocked about because he's not wearing glasses or being picked on.
I can't see without my glasses. So Arnie picks up Dennis to go cruising Christine. He toasts with some beer because why not drink and drive at this point?
But you don't like beer?
Yeah. Oh my God. Dennis is uncomfortable. We're talking about the shitters of the world, friendship and family. We're discussing love and shit. When Dennis thinks Arnie's insane rants and rambles are about Lee, Arnie screams that he's really talking about Christine because no shitter will ever come between him and Christine. Arnie is turning into LeBay LeBye-Bye.
And we know by the word shitter that he keeps repeating because only LeBay would use that word.
Exactly. So, and poor Dennis, like he's just watching his best friend crumble. And this goes back to what you were saying about like people being lost to drug addiction and
Yeah.
like friends that, like just like slip away.
You've had friends in your life where it's like you kind of they get lost along the way and you're trying to pull them back, reel them back in, but they're just a whole different version of this person that you don't even know anymore. So there's no saving them.
Exactly.
So that happens on a regular with everybody. Everybody has this person. There's
Yeah.
an Arnie in everybody.
We're all a Christine. Isn't there a name for someone who fucks cars?
Fucks cars.
I mean, I don't fuck cars, but I know people do.
Car fucker.
Well, yeah. Wait, no, mechanophilia.
Probably.
Anyway, so Dennis and Lee go to Darnell's.
But in the gas tank, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Okay, and hotwire a tractor to use for when luring Christine into the garage so they can trap and destroy her.
Hold on, is that where the song comes out with cock in the gas tank? I'm kidding, I just made that up.
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Lee is the bait, of course, for this whole trap that they're trying to set inside the garage. And, there are not a lot of jump scares in this movie, I just realized, but the part where Christine's light beams
Mhm.
come on and she jumps out of the box. Yeah, when she jumps out of the boxes because she's been like crowded
That's
underneath.
super scary.
That really scared me. And dude, the damage to the front makes it look as if she just got a jagged set of teeth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it looks like she has like a big mouth of teeth.
This is happening because she's trying to get to Lee, right?
Yeah.
Because she's hiding behind that the big old caterpillar.
Yeah. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
big old caterpillar
just-
tractor, and
I called it a tractor.
what's his name? Dennis is driving it, and he's protecting Lee from the car. So he has the grate up against the wall, and
Okay.
Lee's kind of hidden in there, and this car's trying to get to her, so he's busting up
Okay.
the keys.
The cinematography in this last act is really fucking good too. Yeah, let's break down how this trap thing actually works because they're using the mouth of the tractor to enclose Lee, or the caterpillar actually. They're using the mouth of it to enclose Lee so she isn't hurt by Christine. And Christine is driving around all crazy
Yeah,
to each side,
like
trying,
a rabid animal trying to get to her.
trying to smash into Lee, but she's protected by the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Right?
So in lieu of this, her front end has become like a mouth version of Christine. It's kind of fucking cool. Big old choppy teeth and shit.
Yeah, yeah. So we hear Arnie scream shitter from inside the car, so we know he's the one actually driving now. And earlier there was no driver. So we know that Arnie is like fucking lost it, and he's the one in control of the car now. So Lee goes inside the office. Christine recanters. Arnie smashes through the window. He dies, a piece of glass having impaled into his stomach, but before he does, he brushes his hand over Christine's face. It's so...
Well, even saying that he died happily with his baby.
And that was but it's so sad because she's there with him.
Yeah.
Like, he has Lee there, and you think that he's gonna like look at Lee and be like...
But at this point, we're cheering on Dennis and Lee.
We are, but I kind of wanted Arnie to like be lifted from that curse.
That guy is crazy. It was never Christine. It was literally Arnie just falling under her influence and becoming a different version of him that he never knew.
You're right. So Christine's lights go out. We get that synth piano from Carpenter, and it's a beautiful choice. And Lee confirms to Dennis that Arnie is dead. But Christine comes back to life for just a moment to attack Lee in a fit of jealous rage because this is fatal fucking attraction.
You have to kill him dead.
Yep. The tracking shot of Christine going towards Lee is fucking everything. The lights on Lee's face. Dennis gets at her with the tractor, stopping her, and Lee jumps in, but Christine comes back again. This bitch is unstoppable. Dude, she was the first Glenn Close. It's, like, insane. And so Dennis ends up crushing Christine with the caterpillar, and the final scene is the detective, Harry Dean Stanton, Dennis, and Lee in the junkyard, and we have Christine, who has been compacted into a tiny box of nothingness, and she has been dropped into this junkyard. And we think that there's a little bit of music coming out of her still, but it's just some guy who works in the junkyard with a boombox next to his head. And, they're just talking about how they wish they could have saved Arnie, but it was just a little too late. They walk away. It's like, it's the end of the movie, and we zoom in on what's left of Christine, and just a little bit of her bumper moves. And that's what we're left with. And then we get...
There's a part 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a sequel that's going to be written.
Like, there's no part 2.
Yeah, there's no part 2.
Actually, and then there was going to be one.
Yeah.
But it didn't get picked up.
They didn't, yeah.
They made Jumanji or some shit. I swear, like, literally, like, the studios picked up Jumanji or some other bullshit.
Oh, that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
But there are a whole slew of killer car movies that you talked about. The Car is one of them. Stephen King did Maximum Overdrive a few years after this. He directed that one.
With the
big old
trailer?
Yeah, not a big fan. But yeah, guys, that's Christine. And I'm really glad that we sat down and talked about this. I know I just talked about it on Sandy Boy Reviews like barely 2 years ago, but it's a good one to revisit. I'm sad that I haven't watched it more often. Like for being such a Stephen King and mostly a John Carpenter fan, this is a movie that I don't even own. And just before this, you were like, "This is a movie we need to have."
And I want it on 4K now.
Yeah, this is a movie that it's beautiful in shitty.
It's so well done. Like, how the fuck did they make a slasher out of a car? This car is attacking people and we're scared of it.
Yeah.
Like, hello, and the music goes with it and everything is perfectly made. Like, I don't understand how this is a bad film. This is a really good movie.
It's not a bad movie. And I wish that Stephen King would maybe, that quote that I read at the beginning was from 2003. I wonder if Stephen King has had any time or chance to reevaluate this, because it would be interesting to see his take now, because he just said that Pet Sematary Bloodlines was a good film, and that movie is getting a lot of negative flack. And bro, if you gave that movie some good positive criticism, like, there's no reason that you're saying that Christine is a piece of shit. Like, give me a fucking break.
No, maybe like he's entitled to his own criticism, like whatever he created. But I feel like it's a good movie. And
yeah, like
it was supposed to be a prequel to it, but done in anime too. And this one was the one that didn't get picked up. It was supposed to be the origin of how Christine was made, and it was supposed to be this little girl that her parents didn't let her date, so she got mad at them and she killed them. Then she got in the car and she drove to go see her boyfriend, and she died during she had a car accident.
Yeah,
and that's how she possessed Christine.
Yeah,
the first time.
Okay,
to this, like a real animated movie.
Well, there it is, guys. That is Christine. On our gory gaydar, Alex, what would you give this?
I would give this a 5.
I would also give it a 5. This is a pretty damn perfect movie. I couldn't really. The only thing that I think I could say that kind of, if it had any sort of flaw, would be the running time, but it usually goes pretty quickly. When the 2 or 3 times I've watched it, it has gone relatively quickly.
It doesn't feel like 2 hours.
It doesn't.
No.
And
because the development of the movie and the characters is happening so fast.
Exactly.
There's no slow motion. Like literally, the movie is happening fast for 2 hours.
Exactly. So there's not much else I could really bitch about. Like the performances are good, the direction is good.
Fucking music.
It's early John Carpenter, so I have a lot of respect for everything that's happening, and the effects are great.
And we were more vulnerable, of course, during the 70s and 80s, you know, so than we are now. So to me, it's like, well, how many people are going to get scared of a, you know, possessed car nowadays? You can make it happen. Just don't give us CGI shit.
Yeah, and this is done in such a quiet way to where this is effective. Like this is actually done in like a really suspenseful, eerie, quiet way to where Christine is kind of chilling. Like there's some pretty chilling stuff.
It's pretty scary. Like freaking, like nobody wants to be walking in a dark street and you just like hear this car turn on in the middle of the street and you're like just frozen there, stuck, you know, like what the fuck is happening? And like this car's just ramming at you, you know, like that's
Yeah.
freaky as shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Gorometer.
Thank you. And then on the Gorometer, I mean, like I said, virtually there's no blood.
No, as much damage as a car can do, I think would be the one where he smashes Smooch, where she like cuts him in half, but they didn't show us much of
They
it.
just talk about it. And
Yeah.
then there is the part where Arnie takes the big piece of glass out of his stomach.
Yeah, it's just glass.
But that's really,
There's really like, how much can a car do besides run you over and suffocate you by closing the windows and the air out of the car? Other than that, it doesn't have fingers or thumbs. It can't hold the weapons.
before we talk about what we are going to be covering next week, I would love it if you guys took a moment to go follow us on social media. We are on Instagram and Twitter at The Gory Gaze. You can email us at thegorygaze@gmail.com. If y'all would be so kind enough to give us a cute little review on Apple Podcasts, that would be wonderful. We love feedback.
Also share with your friends and family.
Share with your friends and family.
Yeah, because of course you guys are listening because you guys are devoted to us. Of course, we love you.
You love
Please
us.
don't leave us.
Don't leave us. We just got here. And we're so happy to be here. And, you know, I know last week I was like, oh, we're going to talk about current movies. And here we are jumping back to the 80s.
It was just, we had to keep it in the rhythm that we had.
I don't think that we're going to move forward. I think that we're going to jump back again.
Yeah, well, specifically because we're going to do the anniversaries for 20.
Yeah. I think that we're going to.
Share that.
Yeah, no, we are. I think because, you know, 1994, this is the year of a lot of really good anniversaries. So I'm not necessarily going to talk about what we're covering next week either. I think we're going to keep that one as a surprise, but it is going to be something I am going to pick. So just stay tuned, guys. We will reveal that in the next few days. So
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, follow us on the socials. Oh, and follow us on YouTube, The Gory Gaze. We're there too. We'll be more on top of that soon. So yeah, guys, we love you.
We love you.
Thanks for listening. Stay gory.
Go watch Christine.
Go watch Christine, and then
Good.
listen to us.
Yeah, that.
Okay, bye.
Bye.